Hello, everyone, and I hope everybody's doing okay. Like I said in one of my other things, I was going to maybe start demoing some other programs. So today is going to be CorelDRAW's turn. I have CorelDRAW version X8 or 18 in front of me, and what you see right now is kind of a little logo design I kind of threw together using the picture on the left as a reference. Very minimalistic. This used to be kind of a hot thing at one time. I don't know if it still is. I don't get into fashion trends or anything like that. But I thought it was kind of a cool thing I did real, fairly quick and easy and everything. And that's what I was going to kind of do today. Now, Corel offers a couple of ways you can get this program. You can either just buy it outright, which is kind of a nice feature. You can get it in a subscription, or like kind of how what happened with me is because I do the premium subscription every year, which gives me more fonts, clip art, things of that nature. It also, if it's still active when the new version comes out, it allows me to go ahead and upgrade my software up for free. So with this here, I think it's kind of the way I went. For now, excuse me, I do know that they do have a home and student version. You can also try that. Right now, it's one version down. It's on X7 right now, but it could be what you may need. And especially if money is kind of tight or questionable and you don't want to do subscription, that might be a good way to start. And everything I'm going to do today should pretty much work with that version. I'm not going to get into separations or anything like that today. It's just going to be a basic, make this little logo here. The fonts I have may be different from what you have, and you can go ahead and try to grab those if you need to, or some systems already have them on there. I do apologize for not doing that research beforehand, so you can club me over the head if you'd like. This version here of CorelDRAW, what people don't understand is CorelDRAW, not only is it a vector graphics program, but it also contains photo paint, which I'm kind of hit and miss with. I'll be honest, because I kind of learned my ropes on GIMP and then Adobe Photoshop. But it's getting better and better, and I'm getting more and more used to it and how it works. Starting with about X7 on up, even X8, a lot of the plugins that I only used to be able to use with Adobe or Adobe Photoshop Elements now actually work. There's some workarounds you got to do, but they actually work with photo paint a lot better. So, and I'll get into some of those. But today's tutorial, dealing with CorelDRAW, like I said, it's a suite of programs. We're going to make this little t-shirt design here of Cuddles. There's a story behind that. It's too long to get into. I've already gone too long again. I went ahead and just kind of Googled an image of a Mako shark here, and I just going to use it for just a quick reference to kind of get this. So without any ado, let's go ahead and get moving on with this. To import a photo into CorelDRAW, you just can't really open it. You got to import it. You can go to File and Import. Here, if you're going to scan one, you can acquire your image, of course. But the easiest way you could do it is just click on this little icon right here. Which, for some of you seasoned CorelDRAW users, yes, some of these icons look a little different. Also, you notice I got a panel open right here. I'll go ahead and close that. We will be needing it a little bit later, but not right now. You can set up these dockers or panels by going to Window and Dockers, and you can choose which ones you'd like. Now, I'm going to have some that may not have, that others may not have, because this is a newer version. I haven't really stepped back to see what's completely different yet. But because our reference photo here for this is outside the page, when I make a new page down here, as you see, it comes along for the ride. So what I'm going to do is I can do it either on the page or out here. I prefer just go ahead and drag this onto the page for now. And I'll scroll up on the mouse wheel to kind of zoom in. There's a couple schools of thought with this, kind of like what I did when I did the other videos on tracing things manually and things, and that's how we're going to do this. You can do it through a freehand tracing tool. You can do it the way I'm getting ready to do it, which is I'll just kind of click around it real quick with a Polyline tool, and I'll kind of get it to form up. You can also use a thing here called the Artistic Media tool, which we will be getting into, but I'll be doing it afterwards because I want to have better control of how it is, but I can demo it real quick. That icon is right here. You can click on this, and you can choose from the various options up here. The one we'll be mainly using today will be this one, and you can choose up here. We'll be going mainly with artistic up here, and then this little guy here. But you can choose from whatever you'd like. If you get brushes from other third parties, you can load them up here, or ones that you create. A good place to check for brushes for this program, guys, if you're thinking of getting into CorelDRAW or stepping up your CorelDRAW game. And again, I'm not being endorsed by Corel. I'm not an employee of Corel, nor am I an employee of this site I'm getting ready to mention. But AdvancedTshirts.com does have some pretty neat artistic media brushes that really are, some of them are really kind of neat, and you need to really check them out because what they do is phenomenal. Like, for example, I could do a stroke with the mouse or the pen, and when it gets done rendering, it'll be like an old school flame, for example. And I might get into more tools here after a while. This is not discussing every tool in the program. This is kind of down and dirty. Let's get something done. But the reason why I don't do freehand stuff is, like with the mouse right here, I'm kind of drawing this, tracing over the shark here. Not getting as nice as I'd like. I can go back and adjust this, but I'd much rather adjust it the first time and then be done with it. Like that. And see how it really tapers off, and we will be fixing something like that. But if that is a good enough line for you, then cool. But as you see, it takes this and stretches it along through there. Or you can also change it. Once you've drawn it, you can say, hey, let's try that, and it gives you a little bit different look, or even something like that possibly. That's really different. You can change the thickness here, how smooth things get. There's a lot of things you can change with these, and you can even change the style. So the world's your oyster when it comes to these brushes. So we'll check out some of these in another demo, but for right now, for the Cuddles logo there, we're just going to be using something either like that or the one that's further up here. Here we go, that one. Alright, let's get rid of that object by hitting delete. And the way I like to do it is not through a freehand, unless I'm using, like I said, my pen and tablet, which I won't do for this tutorial. I'm just going to press and hold this. Anytime you see a little down-facing triangle in CorelDRAW, guys, that means that there's another tool. Okay, so I'm going to go down to this one here, and I'm going to choose the Polyline, which is very close to how the pen tool kind of works in GIMP and a few other programs. So I'm going to kind of start here. I'm just going to kind of click. Anytime I see kind of like a change in direction, I'm going to kind of click. Now, when I get done with this, guys, it may or may not look like the logo that I did earlier. But again, this is for demonstration, and like I said, I am going to put a note here because it is kind of a very interesting curve there. Kind of curves back, and I'll even put the little hump in on this guy here. Alright, now it's very important, if you move like this and you want to finish the line, if you hit escape, what it's going to do is actually going to take away everything, which is what we didn't want. I'm going to click again. Most of the time when you hit escape, it stops something. Because Corel really wants you to complete your curves. I'm going to draw this just a little differently. Which I guess that was a cool thing we did that. Okay, that's going to be kind of curved. Again, I'm not looking for photorealistic here. So you don't want to move it, because if you move it and you hit enter to finish that line, as you see, we got a line here that, well, now we got a node we got to remove. Which ain't hard. What you got to do is bring up your shape tool there, click on that one node right there, and just hit delete, and it will get rid of it. But in order to not draw the extra line when you hit return to kind of finish your draw, what you do is just leave your mouse in place, which we will in just a second, and then you'll just hit enter or return, and it won't draw an extra line. But while we got the shape tool here, what we need to do is bend this out. Now again, this does function very closely to like GIMP's tool and some other tools, but what we need to do is, because these are all line segments, I need to convert this to a curve. So you just select it here, and you can either do it individually by right clicking on it or going up here and clicking here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert the whole thing at once to a set of curves. So I'm going to just rubber band around it till I see all my nodes highlighted, and then I'm going to click this little button up here that says convert segments to curves. There we go, and boom, we're done. And now I'll just do like I did in the other programs. I'll just drag them and see if I can better fit this on the old shark here. That's why I put that node up here, guys. See how much easier it makes, trying to form that fin. I'm going to actually take a little bit of an artistic license back here. I want this to be a little thinner down. Scroll in a little bit using the mouse wheel and kind of get that little fin there. Okay, come up around his snout, and it's not exactly perfect, nor does it need to be for this type of artwork, guys. Now, if you want to get picture perfect with it, then by all means, please do. But again, for this demo, it's really not necessary, because it is just kind of like a caricature of the animal. There we go, that's close enough. So now I'm done with that. I'll go ahead and select the tool here, and what I'll do is I'll come up to this bar here. There's several different ways to do things in CorelDRAW. I'm just going to make this line a little thicker so I can see it. So I'm going to make it about 3 points. That already looks cool enough, but I want a little bit more organic than this. So we will be visiting our buddy, the Artistic Media Tool, to make that happen. But we now got that. Now what we're going to do is basically kind of a rinse and repeat. We'll grab our little tool here, and I'll click. Okay, that's a change in direction. And I'll stop here. I'll come back to about here. Maybe I can make that turn. I don't know. We'll find out. And what I'm also doing here, let me zoom in. Let me finish my point here first. I'll just go ahead and drag it out. That's fine, because I kind of messed up a little bit anyway. But hey, I'm human. Get rid of that. If you notice, I'm kind of stopping short because I want that kind of organic feel to it. I'm using the node edit tool there. And I believe that is what it's called. Yeah, shape tool, node edit tool. To kind of keep it away, because notice I ain't connecting here. Now you can connect your artwork if you like, but for this tutorial, again, this is supposed to be a very simplistic logo. So I'm going to go ahead and go around that area again, rinse and repeat, change it to a curve, and see if we can form it up a little bit. You'll know when you're on the path is your cursor will change to a line that shows like a sine wave, an up and a down, and that lets you know that you can effectively move the curve. And you'll see that anytime you hover over, and when you hover over a node, it will turn to a plus sign. Also, you can remove nodes with this tool without hitting delete key. You just double click on the node, and the same way to add a node. Say like if I needed a node here, I could just reach right here, double click on my mouse, see it adds a node, and then I can just take it away with another double click. So a couple different ways to get things done. Again, I'm going to make this thicker so I can see it. Alright, we'll go ahead and do this big old fin here. Now on this one here, we're going to find out that I'm going to have to do something here to make this work like I want it to. And this is kind of the cool reason why I do some of these demos, guys, is again, I'm going to stop, hold my mouse still, press enter. Like I said, this is not going to be exactly the same as I did with the other one, but anytime there's a change in direction, I'm going to kind of, alright, hold my mouse still, hit enter. Just going to go ahead and see if I can finish up a little bit more of this, and we'll edit everything at one shot. I'm going to bend that around, and then that's going to go here. Actually, that's a complex curve, so I'm going to do this maybe. We'll see how that works out for us. hold still, hit enter. Alright, now let's go back to my shape tool. Click that, highlight all the nodes in that. Curves. Let's go ahead and bend this bad boy on out, make it look like a pretty wicked little fin for this guy. Okay, same thing with this guy. We'll highlight it. That selects it, by the way. If you highlight the segment like that, it selects it so you can just only select that that segment with your tool. So that's what I'm doing. Again, I converted it to curves when I get the little thing there. I said this may not look exactly like the other Cuddles logo there, but again, this will give you an idea how you can kind of use this program to do something super quick, and we will get into some of the other little things. The reason why I use this sometimes is because it does have the commercial color palettes like Pantone and whatnot, and there are times where I need those color palettes, and the free version of the software do not normally have those because they have to be licensed. And I'll select both of these, and select multiple things with your pick tool here, guys. Just hold shift and click, and then we can go ahead and go up here and make them both 3-point. There we go. Alright, so we've got a good old start on Cuddles here. So let's go ahead and do the nostrils. I'm just going to I'm just going in the center here, guys, because again, this is supposed to be a caricature. I'm not actually going to draw the nostril per se verbatim. I'm going to do the mouth kind of like I did on the other one. I'm just going to kind of give a rough idea of the mouth here. Alright, and this one we will close up. Okay, notice how it's just, telling me I can click around and everything else. But notice when you get near the node that you started with, or if you're reconnecting, you get that little arrow icon. See, I'll just do it again a couple times. That means when I click on this, it will become a closed shape. See, now I got the the handles all the way around it, which means it's a closed shape. Okay. And for the eye, I'm going to kind of cheat. I'm just going to grab the old Ellipse Tool here. I'm just going to kind of roughly draw in the eye. But there's something special I got to do to that shape. Because if you look up here on the options bar up here, it can be a circle, it could be an ellipse, it could be a pie shape, and it can be an arc. Well, I really don't want it to move around to that. So what I'm going to do is, with it selected, I will go to Object, go down here to Convert to Curves. And what that does is it makes that now a object with nodes. So if I go to my node editing tool and select it, now you see there, you can barely see it on my screen, but so I'll zoom in. See, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 nodes here. Now if I had it before, it'd just be one up here, which I can draw my pie slice or my arc. I no longer have that function, which is something I don't want anyway for this. Alright, let's go ahead and choose this guy, go back to our shape tool, select everything, convert to curves, and I'm just going to basically draw the flare of the nostril like this. Go back to here, run this up to about 3 point. It's fine. Okay, same thing with this little guy. It's easier for you to select using this and then convert over to the shape tool. By all means, guys, do that if that's easier for you. The purpose of these things is just kind of show you roughly what you got going on. I mean, if it's easier for you to do it one way than the other, by all means do it that way. I mean, this is not one of these tutorials where you got to do it my way or the highway. I don't try to work that way if I can. I'm sure people will be like, "Oh, use the pen tool because you can do all these cool things." Well, like I said in other tutorials, this is the way I work. If you prefer to use something close to the pen tool, or you can do that. You can even do the pen tool type things with this tool that I'm using. But again, I kind of like working this way. It's just my preferred way to work. See, right now I actually need another node. So I'm going to just line up on the line here where I see my little up and down symbol there, my little sine wave there. Double click. Now I got me another node. Make this slice it a little different, but it'll be roughly the same way. Alright, there's that. Oh, you know what we forgot, guys? We forgot gills. But this one here, I'm actually going to fill this shape with black. And to fill with a color, just make sure you got your pick tool selected. Come over here to your color palette, and then just click on the color. Now, it does have an outline on it. As you can see down here, here's your fill. Here's your outline. I don't need the outline on this particular one. To get rid of an outline without having to go through your outline tool and everything else, just come up here to this swatch with an X in it. That means no color or no fill. And right click on it. And if you notice down here where the little pen icon is, it says none. When you right click on a color through here, it will remove the outline. We need to grab our little tool here and create some gills on this old cat here. Alright, I'm going to stay still, do that. Make sure that's highlighted, okay. And this old boy is going to need some gills. So we will fix that. Oop, looks like I got more than one node here, so I'm going to see with my pointer right there, I just double click it, removes it. Alright, I got to reselect it again though, that's fine. Here, and then I'm just going to roughly shape out the gill. Again, this is not supposed to be picture perfect. I'm using this just for a reference. Alright, I do that, make this up to 3 points. Boom. Alright, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually duplicate. Now, in Corel, there's a couple of different ways to duplicate. You can hit Control D, it will duplicate the object. You can hit, if you have a full-size keyboard, the plus sign over by the numpad, your 10-key number pad. If you hit the plus sign, it will duplicate. Or my favorite way of doing it, or you could just right click on the object, pull it over, and hold down with your right mouse button, release, and it will give you all sorts of options. But my way of doing it is I'm just going to click on the object, or get over the object till I see the four-way arrow there. I'm going to click, start moving it, then I'm going to just tap the right mouse button. Notice how my cursor has a little plus sign there? That means it's going to copy the object. See, and I just let go of the left mouse button, boom. Do this again, a couple more times. I don't know how many I had on my original. I guess I can go back and look, but again, this is going to look a little different. There we go. I'm done. Alright. Whoops, we need to fill this circle in, don't we? Again, same procedure. Make sure you got the pick tool selected. Hit black. We're going to right click that to remove the outline. We're done. Now I'm going to take this photo and just move it off. Well, that don't look too horrible. I mean, it's not pretty. It's not as pretty as I'd like, but it's not horrible. Excuse me. So what we're going to do is we're going to select this, and now we're going to go to the Artistic Media brush. And let's see, I'm going to use Artistic Media. Use this. I'm going to choose something to start this with, and then I'm going to select this. There we go. Again, choose something else, just temporarily, and then I'm just so that way it activates on the brush. Alright, now I will say that when you first do this, it may be enormous. Let me go ahead and since that's still selected, I'll show you. It might be like that. If that's the look you're going for, that's fine, but to control the thickness of your artistic media strokes, come up to here, and this option here will let you turn that down. So, you can actually control how thick and thin these go. Now, this back here is a little too thin for me. We will fix that in just a moment. So I'm just going to choose something just to activate the tool. And now I'm going to go down here. Oh, that's cool. I like the way that looked. I believe it's going to be this one here. It's going to cause me the headache. So let's find out. Not so bad. Maybe it won't. Actually, that did pretty good that time. Sometimes if this doesn't stroke the way you want, you may need to go in and reverse the path to get it to look the way you want. Because what this does, by the way, is it goes from where you start. Just think of this as, okay, I'm going to take this end and stretch this picture over your stroke. I'll show you. Just this thick end is where it's going to start, and this taper is where it's going to end. So here I start, I end, and what it does is it stretches that along that path. Okay? So just kind of keep that in mind when you use this tool, if you're going to freehand it or use it with a tablet or whatever, or when you're doing your artwork here, that is what's going to happen with it. So I'll just delete that to get rid of it. I don't need to do anything with this or this because we're going to do something special here. Take that. Again, activate it with something else. Come back to here. That looks pretty cool. We were doing this top one here. Maybe I'm hoping one of them will screw up so I can... Nope. So far so good. Dang. Well... Okay, we're almost done here, folks. Oops, I got one more here. Alright, we'll just do that. That's fine. And this. Alright. So good old Cuddles is looking pretty good right now. But, like I said, this is getting way too thin back here. I don't like how thin that got. I'm sure there's several different... And look at what it did back here. It really kind of messed up some nodes and everything else back here. So, we're going to have to do a little editing. Yes, we are. But what we're going to do first is I'm going to take the tool and select this top shape. Or not shape, it's actually a stroke. With it selected, what we need to do, because what happens is it draws this on top of the original path that we have. What we need to do is we need to separate that out so we can work with it. I mean, I can work with it now, but realistically, to fix that, I'm going to need to do something a little different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click, hold my pointer down this, we'll do a right click, and I'm looking for separate, and it's not giving me my separate option, so I must not have clicked on the object correctly. Here we go. If you have to zoom in and do it, break artistic media group apart, Control K, that's what we want. Click off of the graphic, and what we need to do, hopefully I'll get the thing. Yep, there's our original path. I'm going to take that and I'm going to delete it. You just, if you move the wrong thing, just hit Control Z and you go right back to where you were. Now, what I'm going to do is kind of scroll in by scrolling up on the mouse wheel, and to move around like this, just if you have a scroll wheel, just press down on the center wheel, you get your little hand and you can move around. Go to this tool. Good Lord have mercy, we have an issue here, don't we? Start deleting stuff. And sometimes this will happen, guys. That's why, a lot of people say always check your artwork. Because sometimes, I mean, as wonderful as CorelDRAW or Illustrator or whatever your favorite program is, it's going to have some issues somewhere down the line. Yeah, that looks kind of horrible. I need to kind of fix that. And I will grab that node there and kind of... There we go. That's looking a little better. I want it a little thicker, and I need to go up here and kind of make it a little thicker. And the way you can do that... Ooh, I got the same little issue going on up here. That. And when you see like a little little clover hitch like that, a lot of times that's because these handles are crossing over each other's path. So you just kind of reverse it like this and solves that problem. Now what I want to do is sticking this up while I'm here. Again, my edits are subjective, guys. If you have a different way you want this to look, then by all means, this is, you know, when you do something like this on your own, this will be your own artwork. I don't need all them nodes there. Let's go ahead and clean that up a little bit. I don't think I need these nodes in there either. Okay. More of these nodes. There we go. That looks a lot better. I got a Mongolian cluster down here too. Oh, lordy. There we go. We'll just kind of get this going in the right direction. There we are. Sometimes it happens, you know, just take a look at your artwork every now and then, guys. Now that I got a lot of that straightened out, now what I'm going to do is move some nodes up, and you can move multiples if you want. Same way you move objects, you just kind of find them, hit shift while you're with the shape edit tool, and then I can now move these kind of up as a unit. I'm going to make that a little thicker so again, I don't want this to be picture perfect because I don't want it to look too organic. I mean, not too organic. I mean, I don't want it to look too computerized. I want it to look kind of like, you know, I took a nib and drew this logo out. This will make it easier so I can see the stroke here a little bit. Okay, that looks fine. And again, especially you want to basically really I got a redraw problem, folks. There it is. Now I know what my issues are with this stinking thing. It's not with CorelDRAW, which I need to let them know that. It's with my graphics card. I'm going to go ahead and see if Auto Smooth will take care of that. Yep, it does. But what I was saying before, my little graphical corruption, guys, is tails like this, usually on vinyl plotters, if you're going to try and make this where it can be kind of cut out, will not probably translate very well. So please keep that in mind. Alright, that's good enough. Alright. Go ahead and come out of here. That's looking pretty good. I mean, it's a close representation of that. It's fairly close to what I have on the other page. Except for I put teeth in here, and this eye looks a little bit more sinister. Now, yeah, you can go in here and grab the good old shape tool and really, you know, mess around with the nodes to get what you want, but there is a little bit simpler way in Corel to get that done. Again, because it has a little bit of a flyout, if you press and hold, there is a smear tool in here. Click that. This one changes your diameter of the tool, as you can see here. And right now, normally when you fire this up, this is going to be cranked up to like something like 85. Tone this thing down, because otherwise it's going to really just give you something you probably ain't going to want. And this just means pin pressure here, which if I was using my tablet would be a good thing, but I'm not. This tells you what the end result of the smear is going to be. It's going to be either smooth or it's going to be kind of pointy. On this case, I want a nice smooth transition because I'm trying to get the shark a mean look, you know, like, you know, ooh, you know, hate life kind of a thing. So I'm going to take, there we go, and just a few clicks of the mouse, I'm getting a kind of a sinister looking look on that eye. Real quickly. See, boom, I didn't have to play with no nodes or nothing, and now I got a real evil, mean looking eye. Real quickly. Now, he looks like he's smiling too much. Again, the cuddles thing is a kind of a long running joke in the household here. I'm not going to get into the specifics of it. But anyways, this guy's going to need some teeth. I mean, otherwise it looks like he got into a fight and he lost. The easiest way to do that is to go down here to the Polygon Tool, click on it, set your amount of sides to 3, and just draw a little triangle. Just kind of, don't have to be perfect, just something that'll work. Like that would work. I'm going to click on it with the pick tool. I'm going to go ahead and put white so I can see it, and I'm going to take off that outline by right clicking. I'm going to go ahead and move her into position, scroll in, and we need to scale this guy down some. About like that. Whatever you feel like your shark needs, So I'm going to click this guy, I'm going to kind of move him into position. And again, instead of doing a lot of duplication stuff, I'm just going to move it, right click, click here, move, right click. Basically rinse and repeat, basically. Whoop, I failed to duplicate that. Alright. And the amount of teeth you want to put back into his head is up to you guys. I mean, I'm just going to go to about, jeez Louise. Go to right about here. I think that's enough teeth for him. Now what I'm going to do is hold down on shift while I still got the pick tool. I'm going to select multiple objects. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually duplicate these down. Save me from drawing another one with the tool, because that's about the right size I want. So I'm going to again drag. I'm going to click the right mouse button, just a quick click, move it down, and release my left mouse button. There it is. Now what I want to do is rotate these around. Well, to rotate the whole object while it's still selected, because these are not grouped yet or anything else, this is just a selection, just click in here again. Now you get your skew handles here, which is denoted by the up and down arrow. You get a center point, which you can rotate around, which I'm not going to move. And now I get rotation handles. I rotate these teeth around roughly, and I'll just put them down here just to kind of get them out of the way. And I'll just click somewhere away from it to deselect it. Now I'm going to go up here and just real quickly set these teeth. I'm showing you a manual method. I'm sure there's another method I could use, but again, I'm trying to keep this simple, and easy to kind of do. Now what I'm going to do is basically, what I'm going to do first, before I even rotate these things, I'm going to actually reselect all of these just by holding down shift and left clicking on them. I want to space these evenly. So since I have that docker open, I'm just going to click on it, and I'm going to click on this button here, distribute space evenly. See, now I got an even space between them. Now I'll click off, and now what I'll do is I'll click on each individual one and click on it again to get rotation. Now I kind of rotate these around until pardon me guys, until they better fit inside of the mouth here. It's not really taking that long to do this. I mean, if I didn't have to sit there and kind of think about what I'm saying and everything else, I could have probably had this done a little bit sooner, but it'll be alright. This up a little bit, maybe a little bit over once I get it rotated, depends on what it looks like. Take rotate this one. Sometimes it's okay to skip a couple to find out, how everything's going to lay, because you want it just to visually look okay. It don't have to be perfect. That's one of the charms about doing kind of a caricature type thing like this. This one here needs to be rotated back. Quite look right. That's close enough. And again, what we're going to do is we're going to take these, and I'm going to try to set them where they would normally fall in the jaw. Try to match up with the upper set of chompers here. And I do apologize for that glitch, guys. That just tells me right there that I gotta find out what in the heck NVIDIA has done, because it didn't like something, that's for sure. Now, a word about this. If that looks fine to you, the way that is, then that's fine. If you want to round these off, you can convert each one of these shapes into a vector object and then be able to use the shape tool to pull down the bottoms to make them more round. But that is completely y'all's option. I'm actually going to rotate these around a little bit to better fit the jaw, because to me it looks better. But again, if you guys like it like that, then by all means leave it. I mean, this is your artwork, that you're creating. That freedom of expression type thing that goes on with doing artwork, I guess. Again, to get these rotational handles and these other options, I'm just clicking on the same object, the left mouse button. Almost there, guys. Then we'll do final thing here, and then we'll add the text in. I can't even talk today. Yikes. Ugh. This crazy weather we've been having is kind of messing with me too, so I know, cry. Okay, here we go. That's good enough for my purposes. I mean, all right, now we got some sinister looking teeth in there. All right, now what I'm going to do, because I might want to maybe cut this out with vinyl. You could probably leave it. It would be probably okay. But if you're going to do like multiple colors with him or whatever, you might want to do what I'm getting ready to do. Is I'm going to actually take those teeth and I'm going to intersect them with the mouth. This is one way you can do it. Again, I'm going to select all the teeth with the pick tool. This will take a second or two, 5. Then once you get all this selected, you got up here now. What these are your combine options, your merge options up here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to weld them, which if you're coming from Inkscape, it's going to be like Union. So I'm going to grab these guys down here and do the same thing. There's a reason for my madness here. What I'm ultimately going to do is take all the teeth and make them into one object instead of individual objects. And then I'm going to take that and actually trim it out from the shark. I got all of them selected. I'm going to weld them. Hit shift. Oh, and to select multiple objects. Again, hold down the shift key. Shift again. Weld. Alright. Now all that is one object. Hit shift again. Click on this. And I'm going to click on trim. Now we'll just take the teeth. Run them out of here. I'll set them over here. But now if we look at this, see how we got all those objects sitting right there? Built inside of that. That's what I'm looking for. Over here, I don't need that anymore. I can delete that. And alright, your basic logo is done. I guess it's time for text now. Alright, so I'm going to grab the text tool. just click somewhere beneath here, be fine. Holding down the shift key, I'm going to put Cuddles. Okay, I'm not worried about size quite yet. And then I'm going to put Swimwear. All in capitals. Alright. And we'll come up here to the pick tool and do this. Now I'm going to take this and kind of go, okay, right about here might be good with Cuddles. And just grab the handles and just kind of stretch it out. Okay, that works pretty good. So what I'm going to do now is I actually know what font I want to use. I want to use the same one I used over there. So I'm going to come up here to the drop down up here. Click. And the cool thing is it remembers which fonts you used last in the program. So I don't have to go searching for it. But I did use Eris Bold for that top one. So we got Cuddles. That's taken care of. Now we got Swimwear. Okay, I want to put that down here. I want to make that a certain size. That's good. Now that one, again, I chose another font that's already up here. It's Minstrel. And we'll make it a little bigger. But then again, you know, you're looking at it and you're going, wow, that's not what you showed over here where it's kind of spread out. Now, some people will convert this to curves and spread it out and everything like that. Why work harder when you can work a little smarter? Let's go back here to where our repel tool is, our smear tool is, and click on shape tool again with that still selected. Look at this. These nodes will allow you to not only kern visually each one of these letter sets while this is still text, but this will control the leading. If you had multiple lines of text, you can control how far apart or together those lines are with that arrow. But this one here, if you click and run that across, guess what it's doing? It's changing the tracking, which is, you know, going across everything like that. And it will even do word sets. So it's like if I had a phrase and did that, it will actually track it instead of pulling apart the kerning like it did here. But it will actually do the tracking. But if I wanted to do, like, you know, up down letters, you know, like Cuddles, I can, you know, put it real close together. If I click on this, I can take each one of these nodes, for example, and click on that individual node, and I can move it, you know, up if I wanted to. I'm going to Control Z that. But there you go. One fairly easy logo done fairly, you know, differently. Again, you can do the artistic media to the thing, or you can make it look like the when we first kind of finished up. You don't even have to use artistic media. I did it for, again, make it look like I sat down and kind of took a pen and kind of traced over this real quick with a pen and got my logo. So there you go, guys. That's a quick one for you. This should work, again, like I said, with a home and student version. This should work with 6. I'm pretty sure everything I used here should work with a fairly, you know, recent version. You know, I know X6 it will work. X5 I'm pretty sure it works, but, you know, I recommend at least X6 on up, guys, if you can do it. So, hope you guys enjoyed this one. Like I said, you know, this will be ready now. You can put it on a t-shirt, whatever you'd like to do. Again, these thin lines back here may not translate to vinyl, so kind of keep that in mind, guys, that, you know, you may have to kind of lop that off or do something different with that, and these tips may not translate too well. But something like a screen print, depends on the mesh of your screen, it may work just fine. Alright, guys, that's it for me. Y'all have a good one until next time, and then we'll probably dive into one of the other parts of the suite, which is the photo paint, which is Photoshop type thing that it has, and we'll do some fun with photos. Till next time.